Let's talk about the Rams. Rams went into a hostile situation in Detroit. They played really hard. They dug themselves out of a hole. They roared back, got the lead, but they ran out of gas late in the fourth quarter. They ran out of players into overtime, and the Rams lost to the Detroit Lions. I'll tell you, there's all kinds of storylines here. Matthew Stafford, in the face of unbelievable adversity, he lost virtually his entire offensive line in that game. A couple more guys went down with knee injuries, including Steve Avila, who's their top young offensive lineman with a strained knee. And yet Stafford kept them in it to get him into overtime. They never got the ball back in OT. He finished throwing for 317. Cooper Kupp, 14 receptions for 111 yards in the course of the game. And I just thought that they did a phenomenal job in the face of just enormous adversity. But Jared Goff running the ball in overtime, never gave up the ball. Rams never got on the field in overtime, and Detroit won that game. Tough loss for the Rams. The bigger story is what's going on with the injuries. They've just got significant O-line problems now, and I don't know how they're going to solve the offensive line problems there. And they lost Puka Nacua. He has re-injured the knee that knocked him out all of preseason, so he's gone. In addition to Tyler Higbee, the tight end on IR, in addition now to 4 offensive linemen who are hurt. So not a good Sunday, despite they played with great heart in Detroit. Let's talk about the Chargers, Raiders. That was ugly. Now, that was defense versus defense that made the game really ugly. These quarterbacks really struggled to get anything going. When in your lifetime did you ever think, with Justin Herbert as your starting quarterback, you would go 25 minutes in a game and it'd have 1 first down?
Yeah.
That's where the Chargers were during the course of the start there. But they just really struggled. And then their defense carried them. Their defense caused chaos to Gardner Minshew. By the time they were done, the Charger defense had kind of chokeholded the Raiders out of the stadium and into the parking lot. And then there was the reemergence of the running back, J.K. Dobbins, who did nothing in the first half. Boy, did he play well the second half. He had runs of 12, 46, and 63 that really broke the Raiders' back and broke their heart. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack were superb. I thought they did a great job defensively throughout the course of the entire game. I think the Chargers, not that they got lucky, they earned this win, and it was a dirty, ugly way to win, but they got it done with their defense. They're going to have to get obviously better offensively as they go to weekend number 2. Third team, Raiders. I'm kind of convinced you can't win with Gardner Minshew. That kind of pushed me over the top. I kept calling him the gunslinger because he would play with a chip on his shoulder and he'd make some plays. He'd also make some mistakes. Gardner Minshew threw a touchdown, had an interception, horrible fumble, took 4 quarterback sacks. I don't understand the play calling for the Raiders when you have a skill group led by Devontae Adams and the young first-round draft pick who came out of the University of Georgia, and you've got Jacoby Myers. When you've got 4 wideouts and tight ends who can catch the ball, why does it take you into the second quarter to start throwing the football down the field to Devontae Adams and to the tight ends? I was really disappointed in the Raider play calling. Raider defense really played hard, but time caught up with them. They kind of wilted in the fourth quarter of the game. So the Chargers post the victory, and the Raiders just keep on losing. They got a quarterback controversy. And the Raiders, by the way, have to leave here, West Coast, go there. They got to play at Baltimore in week 2.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, by next Sunday night, dudes could be 0-2 on the season. Third team there, Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, my goodness, that wasn't good. Justin Fields had to start because the calf flare-up that plagued the starting quarterback, Russell Wilson, resurfaced in practice on Friday. Justin Fields, they've worked so hard to teach him from a footwork mechanics standpoint to play under center because he came from a lifetime shotgun at Ohio State. They ran shotgun for him with Chicago Bears. They spent 7 weeks. And what do they do right out of the gate? Fumbled snap, penalties. He played really poorly to start that Steeler game in Atlanta. He wound up throwing for 158. He scrambled and ran for 50, but there were overthrows. He did not look comfortable in terms of footwork and mechanics. Russell Wilson get healthy, because I just don't know that Pittsburgh can tolerate the ups and downs of what Justin Fields brings to the line of scrimmage. Fifth logo there, Houston Texans. When we did our NFL preview on Thursday, John and I laughed and talked. I kept saying, Houston has arrived. Damn right they have. I mean, it's just not C.J. Stroud, who had a great rookie season. It wasn't the three young wide receivers who grew up with him last year. Houston arrived because they imported veterans to surround the kids. Joe Mixon, who was asked to leave Cincinnati, runs for 159 in his first game in Houston. Nice. Stephon Diggs, who talked his way, tweeted his way, texted his way out of Buffalo, he catches 2 touchdown passes. C.J. Stroud throws for 234, and the defense plays really good defense. I think Houston is going to be a power in the AFC if they can keep everybody on the field. And now they got 2 vested veterans in Mixon, a tough guy running back, and Diggs, who can make big plays, to go with all the young guys and the young quarterback. So, John, out of the gate, that's just some of my theories about where the Rams are, where the Chargers are, what happened to the Raiders, what Pittsburgh's got to solve, what Houston's become. And John Riley says,
yeah, and we got a lot more teams to cover. But I'll tell you what, the Rams, Lions, I just love feeling that vibe in Ford Field. You know what I mean? The fans were excited. The Lions had arrived, and you knew the Rams were coming into a buzzsaw. But the part that caught me, it was the interview with Dan Campbell coming out of the second half locker room. He was saying how we know who that quarterback is, Stafford, and we can tell that he has the smarts to kind of figure out our defense, and he's making it hard on our defense. And so it's almost like the game within the game. Yep. that maybe, as some of people like myself that maybe didn't play football, just knowing the X and O's and seeing how those plays develop. I mean, Stafford must be at a whole other level.
Yeah, I mean, he was such a warrior, and those guys were going down around him nonstop. I mean, they ran out of offensive linemen in the second half of the game, and they got a problem because there's 16 more games to be played, and he's got 4 offensive linemen starters who aren't there for a wide variety of reasons, and losing Steve Avila, who was a high number 1 draft pick a year ago. Boy, that's a terrible blow. Your thoughts on the Bolts? I mean, that's a one-time performance on Sunday. Can they duplicate that, or were they just lucky they were playing against the Raiders?
Yeah, they're lucky playing the Raiders. But, the stadium was jam-packed, and it was Raider Nation showed up. I think you predicted 70% Chargers, 30% Raiders. Mm-hmm. Is that how it turned out?
I think it might have been more even, Steven, but at the end of the day, the Raider fans were pretty doggone loud. I saw videos of really bad fights in the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you pay all that money to get drunk before kickoff, get in a fight, and get your ass kicked?
Well, that's what some people go there for the Raider Charger game. When I had season tickets, I would go there just to watch that BS unfold.
And that BS is now on video. It's all on social media, too. Did you agree or disagree? I mean, you're in trouble with the gunslinger?
Yeah. We were saying sloppy gunslinger. Remember that pass he sort of threw backwards, sort of sloppy, didn't get his hands on the seams. I look at the Raiders, and when he started throwing to Brock Bowers, you were like, hey, this guy's pretty good. There's something to build off of. But for the longest time, Gardner Minshew, to me, seemed like the best backup NFL quarterback. Now when he's a starter, it's like you're saying, he's exposed. The Raider Nation has got to be like feeling like they're so close right now because the skill players are good.
Skill players are great. I don't know about the offensive front. He had people in his face the whole time. They couldn't protect him, which impacts the decision a quarterback has to make, and did not really run the football very consistently at all. Of course, Raider Nation, they don't know. They're drunk. What the hell's the difference?
Well, did you see the fight in the end zone amongst the players?
Yeah, which was kind of stupid, but they're yap.
Right.
And Harbaugh running on the field. That should have been a penalty flag. Harbaugh was running to the end zone trying to haul his guys out of there. League said today there are going to be fines for the guys who got ejected. There were some guys who might have thrown a punch. Nobody's going to get suspended there. Pittsburgh, can you play quarterback in Pittsburgh?
Well, I think as long as they have a good kicker, they're going to be able to put points on the board. I was just watching Justin Fields, and you understand why he struggled in Chicago. But when he rolls out and he's playing athletically, he's dynamic, and he's more accurate passing than if he's conservative under the snap or getting the shotgun.
I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do with the situation because Russell Wilson's calf is barking again, and that doesn't solve itself within 1 week's time with therapy. Is Pittsburgh flexible enough to change their offense to play to Justin Fields' strength? Because they want to pound the ball and they want that quarterback to stay in the pocket, and he just doesn't look comfortable whatsoever. And was I right? Was I right about the Houston Texans?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. These guys are on the come, and it's a weak division. Oh, one other comment, though, about Pittsburgh. Atlanta, you called them to win the NFC South, and they really struggled. And I was feeling like their pain. Like Kirk Cousins didn't look very good in that game.
Thank you, T.J. Watt. Thank you, Highsmith. Their linebackers were in his face the whole night. Offensive front didn't do a good job. Pittsburgh right now is living off defense, and they always do. But, of course, if T.J. Watt gets hurt, and injuries are a whole byproduct of everything Steeler related. If they lose any of those defensive guys, it won't be the same team. Okay, so if you like some of those teams,